So I have a confession, and that is I have been stumped by the Trump. It's true. And I'm not saying that sarcastically. Conventional thinking would tell us that after saying so many, let's just say, off-colored things since he announced his candidacy back in June, that Donald Trump would be pretty much, at the very bottom of the polls or have dropped out by now and wouldn't have won a single primary or caucus state at this point. But this has been a very unconventional election year. A lot of unconventional things have happened, such as Donald Trump has actually won 3 out of the 4 early voting states in the 2016 primary season. That, to me, is unbelievable. Because, honestly, I thought Republican voters, kind of like what they did in 2012, like what they did in 2008, and like what they've done every single election year before that, they always rally around, some cookie-cutter establishment guy at the last minute, like a Romney or a McCain or somebody like that, who ends up sweeping the primaries and then becomes the nominee. And this one is just very interesting because the Republican establishment is shitting their pants scared right now. It's insane. It is insane. I'm baffled as to how far he's been able to come and how he's actually been able to win, not by like a couple of points in New Hampshire, South Carolina, and Nevada. He won by landslides. And we keep hearing the newest speculation every week, like, well, as the field winnows down, and it comes down to just, 2 or 3 Republican candidates, then you will see those numbers add up, and it'll be Rubio who overtakes Trump. So Rubio is the establishment's new guy. And I predicted months ago, and I think I erased the video on this channel, I just have not been as active on it anymore. But I predicted that Rubio would be the establishment go-to guy, not Jeb Bush or Chris Christie or Kasich. Because they're not, Jeb Bush I knew from the get-go was not going to get anything. He was not going to be, I had high doubts he was going to be the nominee. I was like, no, I don't even know many mainstream Republicans who want to vote for him. They're tired of the Bush dynasty. Rubio was going to be the go-to guy toward the very end. And now that's what they're trying to do. As soon as Jeb Bush dropped out, all the people who were backing Bush and donating to him and all that crap are now all falling in line, but not falling in love with the empty head Marco Robato. Okay? Perfect little puppet who repeats the same canned crap every, 15 seconds at a debate or a rally or a town hall speech, whatever. And now what we're seeing is a possible brokered convention this July when the Republican National Convention is held in Cleveland for 4 days. A brokered convention. So what they've been speculating, this was reported, by the way, by CNN a few days ago, that Rubio said to top Republican officials behind closed doors at a Manhattan meeting, he said, and I'll post the article, I'll link it below this video, you can check it out yourself if you haven't heard about it already. But the Republican establishment, the GOP elite, and the billionaires that fund them are now saying that if Trump is going to be the presumptive nominee, or if he doesn't actually reach the number of delegates needed to clinch the nomination, get at least half or more of the 2,000 or so delegates there are throughout the primary season. So regardless of how many, if he's number 1 in delegates and number 1 in votes, popular vote, that won't matter. They will try to push still for Rubio or even somebody else who didn't even run this year, like Paul Ryan, or even now they're talking about, some pundits, Mitt Romney. Because, let's prop the loser up a third time around. So that, to me, is baffling. That they're willing to steal the election from millions, because at that point it'll have been millions of people. It's already over 400,000 total, just out of 4 states, that have voted for Trump. They're willing to kick someone to the curb who has overwhelmingly more delegates than the next guy, more popular vote than anybody else, And they're willing to say, well, we got to save the Republican Party from itself. The crazy right-wing people need to just understand that this is why we've got to put in Rubio at the last minute at the convention, or somebody else like Paul Ryan, Mitt Romney, Jeb Bush, whatever. Because they just can't get their act together, and we got to win November to defeat Hillary, who will be the nominee. It's not going to be Bernie. I'm just saying. So anybody out there who supports Bernie, I'm sorry to burst your bubble, but he's not going to be the nominee. The Clinton machine was never going to allow it. The super delegates over at the DNC were, vast majority of them, like over 500 of them, are all ready for Hillary, or over 400 of them all ready for her. He never had a chance. Because believe it or not, you got to give the Republican Party, I guess, some credit. Their process is, I guess, more democratic than the Democratic Party itself, because the Republicans don't do the superdelegates. However, that can be arguable if they actually go through with this brokered convention stuff and they decide to sneak in one of these establishment goons as their nominee this July instead of Trump. Now, I'm not a Trump backer, all right? But at the same time, I don't dislike him. I really don't. At first, I did. For a long time, I never liked him. But now, I think he's funny. And besides the entertainment, I honestly don't think he's that bad. To me, which you may be saying, no way. Like, how can you say that when Rubio or Cruz or whoever is way better? And no. I don't trust Ted Cruz anymore. I think he's a liar. Rubio, I've never liked. I mean, I remember back in 2010 when he was first elected to the Senate, I knew that guy was a stooge. I knew this was somebody that the establishment wanted in order to have them, in the near future, prop up a young face, and can repeat canned lines and be trained like a good dog. I mean, come on, this was a guy that Dick Cheney openly endorsed in the Senate race back in 2010. He can't be really that much of an anti-establishment character if you've got neocons like Cheney and others who backed him from the get-go. Come on, wake up. So, that is what it is. And so, if the Republican Party does try to take this away from Trump, there's going to be hell to pay. I mean, we're talking, I don't think it's going to be like a riot like the 1968 Democratic Convention in Chicago. I don't think they're going to riot. But you're going to see a lot of pissed off people. A lot of pissed off people, and it's not just, I mean, and if the Republican Party expects Trump supporters to then say, well, we just can't let Hillary get in the White House, so we may as well just now back Rubio or whoever they prop up at the brokered convention, I don't think it's going to go over that easy. Because they will realize, oh my God, this was stolen from us. I mean, literally, right underneath us. He had the delegates. He had the votes across the country. He won a vast majority of the states because he will. I'm predicting this Tuesday, Super Tuesday, he's going to win all the states, maybe with the exception of Texas, which I do believe will go to Cruz because it's home state advantage. But anyways, back to what I was talking about. The Republican Party is just going to shoot themselves in the foot if they decide to take it away from Trump. Because they hate Trump. They really do. These conventions are supposed to be nothing but boring 4-day coronation ceremonies with little to no action, no controversy whatsoever. This is what both parties do every 4 years for the president, right before the presidential election. And it's to get everybody all hyped up and, just have fun and make fluffy, stupid speeches, right? So, and put together platforms that mean nothing and nobody follows. Trump would really piss all of them off because he doesn't really want to go by script on any of that. And so, if they decide to take it away from Trump, all I'm saying is many of those Republicans, many of those people aren't even Republicans, they're like independents, moderates, and whatever, who usually, some even don't participate that much in elections to begin with. They're only participating because of Trump. I'll predict that a majority of them will be wanting to go to a third-party candidate, or just not vote at all in November, because they feel like they got screwed over big time. And that, and the strong possibility, in my opinion, if Trump isn't the Republican nominee, he'll definitely then, 99% chance that they take it away from him at the convention, he'll run as an independent. And then they'll really be pissed. Like he said many times, if he's treated unfairly, then he'll run as an independent third party. And if he doesn't, and for odds, some chance he doesn't, which I'd be surprised, then don't be surprised if you see many of these Trump supporters, coalesce around the Libertarian nominee or the Constitution Party nominee or somebody random just as a protest vote. We're talking probably millions of people. Tell me what you think, and take care.